Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's I, your reluctant Gringo, back again with another movie review. And yes, I got a chance to see Jurassic World Rebirth last night at a packed theater. That was awesome. So I love it when the theater's packed and everybody can react and get that vibe off the audience and what's working, what's not working. And right off the bat, I'll just say, next to the original, which is my favorite out of the entire franchise, Jurassic World Rebirth is probably my next favorite out of the whole lot of them. Thought they did really, really well with this movie. Does it have a couple of flaws that we'll talk about? Sure. Did it have the action? Yes. Did it have the anxiety, the jump scares, great CGI? Yes, it had all of that. It was a blast watching this in a theater. It was loud at times. It was nerve-wracking at times, but they did a great job. They kept the movie going and they kept you engaged. And they didn't overcomplicate things. They really didn't overcomplicate the storyline, anything extraneous. What we got was sort of a back to basic Jurassic World or Jurassic Park film. Yes, like I said, the CGI, you're going to expect that to be great. The jump scares, you're going to expect them to be there. Introduction of newer, bigger, uglier dinosaurs. Yep, you got that too. They did their job there. You'll notice that when you do watch the film, because Steven Spielberg is the executive producer and, sort of the grandfather of this whole thing, there are obvious homages in the end of the first act, beginning of the second act, to Jaws. It's completely obvious, whether it's done to sort of pay homage to that film or it's done because they thought it was just a good idea and, hey, you know what? We'll rip off Jaws. You'll see it. When you see it, you know it if you're a fan of the original Jaws film. That didn't bother me too much, but there were other callbacks. It was interesting, and maybe it's just me reading into it, but there's a scene in which they're walking through the water and something moves past Scarlett Johansson's leg, and she turns around and delivers a line. Something just moved past my leg. And immediately I thought to myself, Luke Skywalker in the garbage compactor on the Death Star in the original Star Wars. I'm like, it was the same line, delivered in almost the same exact way. Whether that's on purpose or by accident or just coincidence, I don't know. But it made me chuckle a little bit. So there's definitely a little bit of tongue-in-cheek in some of the filming that they're doing. But the film itself does try to get back to the roots of the original Jurassic Park, the danger, messing with Mother Nature, things of that caliber. Mahershala Ali did a great job. He's one of the best actors on the planet. Great job acting. Everybody was serviceable. It wasn't like, you don't go to Jurassic World for Shakespeare, right? But everybody did a good job in the role in which they had their acting. But just the standouts for me were definitely Mahershala Ali and David Iacono, who plays Xavier, sort of like the boyfriend to this family that gets caught up in the whole situation due to unforeseen circumstances or just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Again, I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible. I think this movie's going to make a ton of money. Yeah, this movie's going to make a ton of money. This movie's going to be popular. This movie's going to have a great opening. Whether it's tracking to $100 million this weekend in the United States or more, that's anybody's guess, but I think it's going to make it well past that as word of mouth gets out that this Jurassic World is worlds above the last three. Last three I was not a huge fan of. They were okay. I'm not crapping on them, but this one, again, it goes back and has that same sort of feeling. You get that same sort of nostalgia, that same sort of experience as you did with the original trilogy, at least the very first one. Now, some things to nitpick. The first act got me nervous. I was nervous in the first act because I'm thinking to myself, oh, this might not be good. The whole premise of the movie starts out with product placement. What do I mean by that? The accident that occurs in the beginning of the film to cause the island to be what it is caused by a Snickers bar wrapper. It felt lazy. It really did. It felt lazy, and I was like, oh no. But then within a few seconds, it picked up and the scene saved itself through great drama, great action, great anxiety, all of that. The other part of the first act is that as I'm watching it, within the first, let's say 20 to 30 minutes, I had a hard time liking any of the characters. None of them seemed like good people. None of them seemed fun or you really didn't care about them. In fact, at one point I'm thinking to myself, I can't wait for the dinosaurs to eat that person. And they weren't even like the villain. They were just somebody on screen that just, their character just didn't come across as somebody likable. The exception of the professor, Henry, the Professor Loomis, who's sort of the scientist, the grounded guy in the whole film, the father of the family that gets caught up. But even him, just didn't seem to be characters that I could gravitate to and go, I care whether that person lives or dies. I think they might have realized that while filming the movie or while rewriting the movie. And in the second act, you start to really care about these characters because it's almost as if they change a little bit. I'll give you an example. Again, I try to be as spoiler free as possible. Xavier, the boyfriend that's within this extended family, comes across as just this lazy, annoying 18, 19-year-old, someone you just want to punch, really, to be honest with you. And I was like, okay, I can't wait for that kid to be eaten. And when he almost got eaten, I'm like, I was almost disappointed that he wasn't eaten. But then later on, his character changed in the way in which he delivered his lines and the lines in which he was giving, and just the tone of his overall presentation. And again, whether that's by accident or by choice, he made himself one of the more enjoyable characters throughout the rest of the film. He had some of the best lines. He had some of the best scenes. He had some of the best moments to remember from this film. So you got to get through that first act if you're like me and you're like, oh, I really don't care about these characters, because you will later on. It's really hard, and you can see how they really make that turn in the script. So that's one of the big critiques, is that the first act does not do this movie too many favors. There's a lot of product placement. I get it. It's an expensive movie. They're trying to make it cost effective. I get it. You got Nike, Snickers, Altoids, Lay's potato chips. There's a lot of product placement, which is weird because you're on an island in the middle of the ocean. But there's a lot of product placement, and you just have to kind of overlook that. It is what it is. It's commercialization. It's business. I get it. But some people don't like that. Some people see it as sort of watering down the movie or prostituting the movie. You got to get over it. The other part of this movie is there's a couple places in the movie, which I won't spoil, that you just have to go with it. You're not going to be explaining to how you got from A to B or how someone got from A to B. It's not going to be explained. And things are going to be sort of left hanging out there. You're going to have these questions. Now, whether that's because they want to set up something for another movie further down the road, could be. But you're left with some questions like, hey, what was that? Or, hey, how did that happen? Or, hey, it's Jurassic World. You're there for big, roaring dinosaurs, people running for their lives, some of them getting eaten, and just terror and jump scares. So you kind of put all that to the side. So the critiques, yeah, there are some critiques to this film. Is it a perfect film? No. You know what you're buying a ticket for. You're buying a ticket for Jurassic World. You're not buying a ticket for some high drama. You're buying a ticket for summer blockbuster fun. And that's what this movie delivered. It was a blast. I had a great time watching it. And even there were some people in my viewing party, in my theater party with me, that literally said after the movie ended, that is now my favorite Jurassic Park film. More so than even the original. And that was the conversation at the end when we were leaving the theaters, is it is this one rank? And everyone was giving it high marks. Really, is there a better compliment that you can give to a film that is now the next step in a franchise that's 32 years old? Yes, I highly recommend this film. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. I think you'll have a lot of fun with the characters after you get through that first act. And I think you'll come out of there thinking to yourself, this is what Jurassic World should have been over the last 10 years of production. And with that, that's my short spoiler-free review. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you're going to see this film this weekend, if you're going to see this film eventually, and if you have seen the film already, if you got an early screening like I did, let me know. Do you agree or disagree? And where do you think it ranks amongst the rest of the franchise? With that, I'm still your reluctant gringo. I'll see you a little bit later on today. Salut, a huevo. Enjoy your holiday weekend, everybody.